I'm going to show a demonstration for how to use the temp apparatus. This is the simple temp apparatus that I'm going to be showing. First, with the temp apparatus, it's important that you actually plug this in so that it works. Now that I have it plugged in, I need to get a thermometer and put this in the right slot so we can actually measure the temperature here of our melting point. And now we need to prepare our samples. So we're going to be using pure benzoic acid. When you get your sample, you only need a very small amount of this, really just enough to see. So I'm going to get a small amount of this sample on this glass dish. And that's plenty of sample. This is our melting point capillary tube. I feel it's important to show that this melting point capillary tube has an open end and a closed end. Other capillary tubes may have two open ends. But when you take the melting point, it's very important that you have at least one closed end on your capillary tube. We need to get a little bit of sample into our capillary tube, so I'm going to take the open end and stomp it down a little bit on this sample. Like I said, for the melting point, you really just need just enough to see. So right there, I have just enough to see in the open end of my melting point capillary tube. It's important, though, that this sample gets down to the bottom of this capillary tube so that we can observe it in the melting point apparatus. So I'm going to lightly tap this sample down until it falls to the bottom of this capillary tube. Now you can see the sample is resting at the bottom of this capillary tube. Once we have our sample or samples in our capillary tubes, we're going to place them in the small slits in this temp apparatus. I've placed that in the middle portion of the temp apparatus. And now I'm just going to show two more empty capillary tubes so you can see where all these go. Now these are on the other side. You can see this one here isn't down all the way, though. It's important that you put these capillary tubes down so they're all level, all sitting at the very bottom of the device. Now it looks like we're ready to take the melting point. So to take the melting point on this temp apparatus, we need to turn the device on. You can see a little bit of light is in the background now so that we can actually view our samples. And then we're going to turn this up to about 4. We don't want the thermometer to rise too fast, so we want to keep it fairly low to start. And then if we need to, if the temperature stops or halts at a certain level, we can continue to turn it up. So like I said, we're going to start at about 4, watch the thermometer for a little bit. This will take 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, so it's important that you're patient with the process. This is one temp apparatus. I want to show you the other one and a couple differences there, just in case you happen to have that in lab. This is a newer version of the temp apparatus. This is really the exact same thing as this one, except we have this blue casing around this structure here. So with this temp apparatus, the thermometer goes in the same place. And then right in front of where the thermometer goes, there are 3 slits where we're going to put these capillary tubes. Now I have the capillary tubes in place, the thermometer's in place. We'd plug this in, turn it on, and put this up again to about 4 to get started with our melting point.